The thing that I find interesting about this Israeli war, aka Palestine genocide, because that's what it is. It's actually the Israelites doing genocidal actions and trying to eradicate the entire human race, which is the Palestinians. Okay, people argue because probably who was arguing for Israel would say different that Palestinians deserve it, blah blah blah. They're a terrorist group. Palestinians are not terrorist group. Maybe Hamas is, and we'll get to the point where Hamas is actually a creation of the Israelites, because they were funded and created by the Israelites, so that they have an excuse to actually continue to kill innocent civilians in Palestine. Right? It's not a new thing. It happened with the Lavon affair. If you Google the Lavon affair, you get that. But what's interesting for me is that in Africa, in Sudan in particular, the same is happening. It's been happening for probably the same amount of time it's been happening in Israel or in Gaza, and nobody is interested in documenting that fact or saying anything about it. But whenever it's happening in Palestine, Gaza, or wherever it is happening in the world, now recently the Ukraine, everybody has an opinion, and we all should have an opinion and sympathize with the Palestinians and sympathize with the Ukrainians because they are being annihilated. And nobody is seem to be concerned so much about, you know, Africans. So Africans are more or less of humans than any other people on this planet, and it's disgusting, and it's really shameful, and it's unfortunate that we find ourselves in this position as human beings. That us as Africans we tend to have an opinion and pick sides in a battle that doesn't involve us in parts of the world far, far away from us. When in our doorstep, there's actually war that is happening. It's interesting that our presidents are supposed to take a stance when asked about these questions. And yeah, it's really, really disgusting how the world works and how people presumably feel about African life in general. That's just my piece and what I think about it. And I don't know. I think other people would engage more about the subject to picking sides of who's correct and who isn't. Israelites. I believe the Israelites are probably just invaders, relatively, but again, it's nothing to do with me. There's a lot happening in Sudan that concerns me. Probably people who are now living in the Congo and Sudan would like more of my opinion about what's happening there than the opinion that I have concerning the people who live in Palestine and Gaza, I believe.